I have my X-Men shirt on, so it's only apropos that we get into some X-Men news. And I hope we enter into a new era of X-Men movies. Now, I would say now that their Fox is owned by Disney and Disney has the rights to the X-Men properties, things will be done right. You know, Marvel's been on thin ice. We don't know. Fantastic Four was good. Seems like they're headed in a good direction. So maybe this will be good. Maybe it won't. We'll see. There's two articles. I don't know if I'm going to get to both of them. Haven't read any of them in advance. This is from Cosmic Book News. Marvel going cheap with X-Men reboot, looking to cast unknowns. Now, most people might look at this and say, casting an unknown, why don't you go with a known actor? I say casting an unknown is actually an exciting prospect because you don't go in with the baggage of who this character is, what you think of this character, what you think this character may or may not do with, insert person playing, this role. You're going in fresh. I have found, like, for instance, Charlie Cox, when he was cast as Daredevil. Now, I don't know much about him. Maybe you do. And maybe you know a lot about his acting career. I didn't. I went into that with no baggage and I was completely blown away. I'm not the biggest fan of Daredevil as a comic book. I don't dislike Daredevil. I just didn't collect many Daredevil comic books. I probably have a handful in my collection from what I bought over the years. But that show and him, for me, he was an unknown. And there are other shows and other, IPs and properties where an unknown was cast and it worked. I don't think you always need to go with a big name actor because I think what happens is, and this is just my personal opinion, whatever baggage comes with that actor, whether people like or dislike that actor, whether the actor has done something in the past that maybe has marred their image amongst the fans, that baggage comes into play when people look at this movie. Now, should the movie should be judged on purely the acting and is the movie good? But look, we're humans. It is what it is. But I like this. I'm not mad at this at all. Uh, According to Variety, Marvel has informed reps it's looking for younger talent rather than A-listers in order to keep the cast, in order to keep the cost down. Look, you may get a young, hungry actor and actress that will absolutely knock this out of the park. And I'll tell you what, so this is where the screenwriters are going to have to be on their A game as well because you won't be sometimes an okay script can be hidden by a very good actor. Good actors can hide an okay script. And the script can be okay in and of itself. But an unknown actor who people have no investment in, you're going to have to knock that script out of the park. And these actors are going to have to bring their A game. And that's why I think this actually may work. This may be a big deal. Per one Hollywood agent, that confirms that Kevin Feige has hinted at the reboot will skew younger, but the financial motivation now appears to be the driving factor. And look, I'm not sure, especially there's a lot of factors. Marvel hasn't necessarily given fans what they've wanted, and thus it is actually wise on their part to cut the costs down in movie making because they're not guaranteed to recoup that cost. And I will tell you what, even if they get back to billion-dollar movies, in my humble opinion, it makes sense to cut the costs down and keep it that way. Movies don't have to have these overblown budgets. Again, I keep citing this movie, and if you haven't seen it, when you watch it, you will know why I keep citing it. Godzilla Minus One. I can't remember what was the cost of making that movie. Let's see. What was the cost of Godzilla Minus One? And what did it make in box office? Because this was actually a testament. Okay, so the cost was estimated at 10 to 15 million dollars, and worldwide it made approximately 115 million dollars. When you look at that movie, it does not look like it cost 10 to 15 million to make. That movie looked like it cost way more than that. It was visually pleasing, the plot was excellent. Even the love story, the subplot love story pulled me in a little more than Godzilla did. It was all around a great movie. Casting is expected to begin soon, with the field wide open according to Variety, meaning just about anyone could land a role. They have been a place they have been a place to tell stories. I don't know why I couldn't get that sentence out, about young people who feel different and who feel other and who feel like they don't belong. Feige said about the MCU X-Men in a recent roundtable press interview. That's the universal story of mutants, and that's where we're going. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that, casting some younger people in. And this is another story from Bounding Into Comics. Thunderbolts director Jack Schreier thinks it's fair to say his MCU X-Men film will be notably different from Fox series. And the reason I read that other article first is because I don't know what this article is going to say, but I wonder if that's part of it. If they're saying, look, we're going to go a completely different direction. We're not looking for all A-listers. Now, I'm sure there will be some A-listers. I don't know if it will be, all unknowns. And if it is all unknowns, I wouldn't be mad at that. Despite the reverence continually being paid to them in such projects as Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and Deadpool and Wolverine, Thunderbolts director Jack Schreier has strongly indicated that there will be a fair bit of differences between his upcoming MCU X-Men outing and Fox's original series. Again, I don't have a problem with that. I didn't even know this picture was in here. For those of you who know, Jim Lee is my favorite artist of all time. This is a Jim Lee piece right here. Oh my goodness. His art is just immaculate. I love that man's art. The soon-to-be two-time MCU director offered this insight in his upcoming Dance with Marvel's Merry Band of Mutants during recent interviews given to the playlist Rodrigo Perez. Asked by his host if he could provide any insight into his vision for X-Men, Schreier asserted, "I mean, yeah, without going into too much, really almost any details," and he laughs, "what I can say, it's just inherently interesting and complex material. The core idea of what X-Men involves complexity," explained the director. "It's an incredible opportunity with super interesting characters and much internal conflict. These characters are wrestling with their identity and place in the world. That's inherently interesting and complex material." And this is very true. The X-Men, I'm not going to read that. I'll go on. From there, Schreier was pressed as to whether his approach to the team would be recognizably different from what came before, to which he positively confirmed, "Yeah, I think that's fair to say." And if I was him, I would not try to repeat what Fox did. I think that would have painted him in a corner, and you don't want to do that. You want to leave the floor open and give yourself room to create whatever it is you want to create. Uh, there's that red sniper dot out there somewhere. You know, he joked about Marvel Studios' desire for secrecy as he drew his thoughts to a close. But to be able to explore all the ideas that are inherent to that rich source material, but also at the scale, emphasis, emphasis his inherent to the source material, that's like a very rare and fortunate opportunity. That's very exciting, and there's a lot of X-Men source material. I hope this is my hope. My hope is he actually pays attention to the source material and doesn't go too far deviating. And also, my hope is he pulls from the right X-Men stories. And by the right X-Men stories, I mean the ones that we as X-Men fans all love, right? All the runs that we would, you know, be able to recognize he pulled from and be excited about what's coming next. Hot off his Thunderbolts success, Scheer's attachment to X-Men was officially confirmed earlier this month, courtesy of Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige. Yeah, it's official. Jack Schreier is doing X-Men for us. The baseball cap producer told attendees of the July 20th press roundtable held in promotion of Fantastic Four First Steps. Very lucky, and we're very, very lucky to have him, and very excited to have him. And so we're beginning. It's all starting now. Script underway. And what what he's brought so far to Marvel has been good. So I'm willing to give this a chance. I'm not going to get overly excited, but I am going to say I am very interested to see what he has coming. Jake's an incredibly smart, Jake's an incredibly, have I been saying Jack Scheer? I probably have been saying that, messing this man's name up the whole time. just reading it wrong. Now I'm going to go back up in the article and see. Yeah, Jake Schreier. I don't know why. I think I was saying Jack Scheer. Forgive me, Mr. Jake, if I said your name wrong early in this video. I'm sure I did. Okay. Jake's an incredibly smart guy, and he's an incredibly talented filmmaker. We had a great experience with him on Thunderbolts. And if you saw that movie, what he did with those character interactions, he also has his pulse on, shall we say, a younger demographic. Not he's younger than me for sure. Not he's younger than me for sure, but he's tapped into that in a way that I think is important. It was important for Thunderbolts, much more important for X-Men, because X-Men, as it was in the comics, will be a very youth-oriented focus and cast movie. Now, I don't have a problem with that. What I do hope in these comments is that his approach is not to abandon longtime X-Men fans, because many of us are not young. Many of us are in our mid and upper 40s, and we love X-Men, and I've loved X-Men since we were young teenagers. So I hope he manages to bridge the gap between two generations and not just lean in one way and only take the story in one direction. But I have to say, I'm definitely excited to see where this goes. I'm going to temper my expectations. I'm not going to get overhyped, but I'm going to say this is definitely something I'm looking forward to.